How can I believe in something I can't even see? And what about science? Does it mean faith isn't real? It's okay to have questions. Actually, it's good to have questions. This series is about asking the hard questions and discovering a faith that makes sense.
Well, hey, everyone. There's this concept or this thing I have with our student ministry that I'm always saying, you'll hear me say this if you spend enough time around me, where we want to be able to have the deep conversations with you on the couch. And I think of it like a house. But you can't have those deep conversations on the couch if you never come through the front door. And so you guys have come through the front door. And we've been in this series on science and faith for the past 3 weeks. This is week number 4. And now it's time to have the serious conversation on the couch. You guys have had questions for us that you've been submitting over the past few weeks. And we wanted to just take some time and answer those questions in the form of a conversation. Mark and I, if you don't know, this is my friend Mark. Hello. He's preached in here a couple of times, but is also just around. And this is someone who challenges me, who inspires me with your faith, your wisdom, how you critically think, how you approach your faith, and just the way that the world works and why. And we have had the pleasure of having many awesome conversations on the couch, figuratively and literally speaking, over the past few years. So I figured we could just have that now in front of you guys so you could see what it looks like. There might even be some things we disagree on.
I hope so.
Yeah, and that's okay. And so we just want to take these questions just one by one and just talk about them with you guys here, and we hope that it's a blessing to you and that you can lock in. Yeah. So any other thoughts or anything you want to add to that before we get going?
No, let's kick it off. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Well, the first question that we got submitted in this series was, let's see, if matter cannot be created or destroyed, how did God create things out of nothing? Now, this is a great question. And by the way, if you're taking notes on these, then this is a great time to just take notes and write your thoughts down or even more questions, and we'll be available. But immediately, I'm reminded of that Latin phrase, ex nihilo. You know what?
From nothing.
From nothing.
Yeah.
In Latin, and that's just sort of how we were always taught that everything was created. It was created spontaneously out of nothing. This is a good question. How do you reconcile this?
Yeah. You know what? You asked me if there was anything I wanted to say before we kick this off.
Yeah.
Now I actually kind of feel like I do. So I'm gonna pretext this answer with there's an assumption that Christians agree on this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just not true. So there's a whole bunch of theories in Christianity around Genesis 1, 2, and 3. And there's a whole bunch of theories around where we came from in science that scientists disagree on. So just know, where I'll give you my opinion where I'm at right now. I hold a lot of these things not super tightly. I believe them. And it's my current understanding, but it constantly evolves and it changes over time, and it has
Evolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and that's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, wrestle with this stuff.
Dude, I always thought that if I didn't adhere to a certain set of beliefs, I wasn't a good Christian, or I was, going to hell or all that stuff. And it wasn't until I realized that's not the case. You don't have that pressure and that stress weighing on you, whether you question these things or not. It really freed me up a lot. So yeah, with this one, no matter where you're at, if you think that it's, we'll get to creation time block and stuff in the future, but how I sort of answered this question is that that's a law. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. That's a law in physics and in science that was created after everything already existed. So if God was pre-existent, he doesn't have to abide by the laws that he created and that we now live in.
Totally, yes.
So for me, it's really easy to say he doesn't have to abide by the law of the conservation of mass?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of science. But he doesn't have to abide by that because he existed before it existed. So there could have been this quantum pre-existent state of everything that he was over, and then he decided to put meaning and these laws, these physical laws that are now in place.
Totally. So we would understand that God is outside of the system that he created, right?
Right.
But also in science, the Big Bang had a start. Right? So all of Newton's laws are specifically bound to the matter that exists within that Big Bang. So what we're saying with this, right, that matter cannot be created or destroyed out of nothing, this same exact predicament that I would say Christianity has is the same predicament that scientists have. There's no difference. Right? There has to be a start on both sides.
Yeah. So, basically just I trust that God, it's kind of like a game. And not to say that we're in simulation theory or anything like that, but if we were operating in this world, like you said, there's a creator outside of that world that is not necessarily bound to the rules within that game.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on. If God, this is the second question we got, which is a doozy and a classic. If God really loved everyone so much, then why would he put us in a place that is full of sin? If he's really all powerful and good, how can he can just defeat himself and have us all be perfect? And if he can't do that, then he's either not all loving or he's not all powerful. That's kind of a mouthful. And I think I'm getting the essence of what is being asked here. It's kind of several questions. So the first thing I want to say to that is just if we break it down like piece by piece in the beginning, that God did not put us in a place of sin. This question says, if God put us in a place that's full of sin, there's all this disease and there's all this, abuse and violence that takes place on earth. Like, why did God put us in this place? He didn't. He put us in a perfect place. That's where it all started. Was everything was perfect and good, very good, right?
Yeah. So you were talking about the Garden in Eden.
Yeah.
Right. So it's this whole idea. Well, there's a couple of things. So sin, you've heard me say it on this stage many times, is not you've done bad. Sin is the failure of vocation. It means that God has given you a job to do and you didn't do the thing. And we understand about causality. There's cause and effect and all that happens. So if I go out right now and take a gun and rob a 7-Eleven down the street, I'm causing a hardship not only for me, but for the person that I'm doing it to, for the owner of that store, and for my family, because now they're going to have to deal with the side effects of what has just happened. That we don't live in isolation by ourselves. When we sin, it actually affects everybody around us and everything around us. And that's really what we're getting at here. So I have the ability to do good and to do evil. And through that, I'm choosing good. Sometimes I don't. God is saying,
you sinner.
Yeah, God is saying, I'm giving you an out. That out is, I'm going to come to you in the form of Jesus. And I know the system that you're wrapped up in with failure of vocation and sin, and I'm going to give you a path forward to get out of that system. And I'm going to be the very thing that's going to allow for that, and that is, how we all say that we're saved by the blood of the Messiah, and that really is how to live your life truly as a human being, and that's what the Bible is getting at.
Yeah, it's following the example that Jesus set in his perfect existence on this planet.
Totally, yeah.
There's this super corny song, I think I've referenced it before, where it's like the song is asking God, there's all this violence and there's abuse and there's poverty and there's neglect and there's death and there's all this stuff happening. Why don't you do something about it? And God's like, I created you. So do you think we have sort of a responsibility to usher in God's kingdom on earth as it is in heaven? That God's sitting there just as frustrated as we are with all the violence that's taking place. And he's saying you are my hands and feet. You are my mouthpiece on this planet. I am going to do something about it. And you're the ones who are supposed to be my ambassadors on this planet.
Totally.
It's kind of on us to a degree. We could make this very much like heaven, this earth, if we chose, but we kind of don't. And we have the choice, which is the other thing about love, right? You can't have love without choice. If God created us as a bunch of just obedient robots to love him, whether we wanted to or not, it's not really love. No,
love is a choice, always. Yeah.
And so that's part of him giving us free will in this dichotomy that we're in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that fully answers it, but food for thought anyway.
Happy with that.
Why do some people, next question, who like science, hate faith? So some people who like science love faith. There's a lot of good examples we've used in this series of top scientists who have faith in God, Jesus, and the Bible, and trust it. I think what this question might be asking is that why do they have a problem? And I think that it's because scientists believe in things that they can prove. There's this empirical process of a hypothesis and testing and proving and repeating that is fundamental to science. And you can't, like, faith gets to a point where you can't do that fully. But weirdly, so does science. So I don't know. Faith and science should love one another.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I absolutely agree.
They're teammates.
They're teammates. Yeah, I think there's also this idea that like religious people or Christians, or doesn't even need to be Christians, is like you view it as a pejorative, where those like simpletons like can't understand us, the big complex things. But if they could, they would
know better.
They would know better.
Yeah. And you put this weak faith in this magic miracle of the Bible. Yeah.
And that's actually really freaking dangerous. So if you have this assumption, there's this idea called social Darwinism, which is like, every generation of humanity gets more and more improved, and we're smarter now than people were when the Bible was written.
Yeah.
If that's true, then you would say, what a litmus test is in science. If I have an A/B test and I'm trying to say, hey, is this the thing? And no, it's one or the other. One of the factors that you could look at for humanity is how violent are we? Well, the last 100 years of humanity has been the most violent in all of
We've gotten
human
more
history.
violent?
We've gotten more violent, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So is there a correlation between intelligence and violence? Like, it doesn't add up.
Ooh.
Something is amiss here. Yeah.
Interesting. Dang. Well, I don't know. What's it? Faith and science, man, and violence.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did we answer that question? Maybe?
I think so. Basically, they don't have to hate each other.
Yeah, I will
Be
also,
friends.
I will also say like a lot of like super atheist scientists, like Richard Dawkins, for example, that is their religion.
Ooh.
So they have decided that, like ultimately, anyone use Grok or ChatGPT or whatever to ask some of these questions, and you can get answers on both sides. So there are answers on the atheist side of all these reasons why Christianity and theism or having some sort of creator doesn't make sense, and here's all the reasons why. And you could do the exact same as a Christian and say, show me all the reasons why it's ridiculous to be an atheist or agnostic or whatever. Ultimately, there are unknowns on both camps. Science has you covered some of them.
Yeah, some of the things that science can't explain that do require a level of faith. It's ironic that science requires almost just as much, if not more, faith than faith. Or than Christianity, I should say.
Yeah, and in school, so you're sitting through biology, and there's a level of biology and physics that you're going to learn in high school, and they don't tell you all the ugly gaps in these theories. But then you go to college and even beyond, and you realize, this is not nearly as buttoned up as I thought that it was.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
This next question is just more practical, and it just says, how can I stay in a godly mindset in my daily life and not forget and go back to my old habits? I like this. I actually did a little research on this. I had heard there's like this 21-day habit formation thing you might have heard of, or maybe 30 days to form a new habit. It's actually not true. In 2009, psychologist Dr. Philippa Lally and her team at University College London published a major study on habit formation. And they tracked people building new habits like eating fruit or daily exercise, and they found this, that on average it took 66 days for a behavior to become automatic. And the range was actually, it was a spectrum. So like you can't even say, after 66 days, because some people were able to form new habits in as few as 18 days. For some people, it took as many as 254 days. So everybody is different. Everyone's brain is different. But I kind of think like committing to, and if you miss a day, the study found if you miss a day or two, it's not detrimental to forming the new habit. But you really have to stay consistent. Get it someone, I hate the term accountability partner, but in essence, it's kind of good. Like get someone that you can share that I'm trying to start this new thing, and they will ask you about that and kind of keep you in check with it. But aim on the high end, go for 200 days or after a year, if you want to form a new habit. And I don't know what that is, if you're trying to form a new habit or break a bad habit, but that's just what it's going to take. And it's going to take consistency, vulnerability, and just radical determination to the thing. But it can be done.
Dude, I will also add to that, and I suck at this, like really, I feel like everybody does in some way. But you and I went camping with our families a couple of weekends ago. And when you completely remove yourself from your environment, and there was no screens allowed, it was 3 days that we were there. And then you go back home, and I'm like, it's like an unknown. I didn't even realize that I needed it so much. And I didn't realize that I had some bad habits that were gone just in 3 days of me removing myself from that environment. So
yeah, people I think want to focus on the thing, or like I'm trying to do this or I'm trying not to do this, instead of zooming out a bit and just saying, what am I going to do to not even put myself in the position to do that thing? It's like take yourself out of the environment in which that thing even happens or doesn't happen, or like put myself in the environment in which I'm more likely to do this or whatever desired behavior you have.
I've got one more really quick. So my wife recently started, she just wants to read the Bible more, and is finding it difficult to do that. So she just got a blank notebook and just writes the Psalms, like literally has it open and just copies from one to one.
Yeah. For me, it was the YouVersion Bible app. Like I had to tell a bunch of people that I'm going to read this every single day and I won't miss a day. And I like made it very public.
Yeah.
I like posted it on my story. So now if like I go a couple of days where I don't post it, everyone's like, yo, did you fall off? What's up? That social pressure, I knew that was what was going to work for me. Is like if everyone knew, I can't let them down. So my Bible app is like, I'm at like a 580-day streak right now. It's pretty, and then now it's a habit.
Well done.
I can't not
Mission
do it now.
accomplished.
Yeah, that's what it took. Okay, next question. How does evolution, and this is one of the, kind of this question too, but
and kind of this one a little bit.
Yeah, I like this. So how does evolution work with the Bible? Mark, this is a doozy, brother. This is a doozy. This is the one where I wanted to talk about a few things, like a few schools of thought. Okay, so on this, there are three main schools of thought when it comes to creation and how we all got here. There is young earth creationism, which...
You want to...
Yeah, we can break them down as we go. Like, right? Young earth creationism?
Yeah.
It's that God created everything pretty instantaneously with the appearance of age, making everything look really old. This would be like, it kind of wraps in the next questions with like, I buried dinosaur bones just to test your faith. But the earth is probably between 6,000 and 10,000 years old, tops. And
if you take all the dates from Genesis and you literally add them up, just basic arithmetic, you get around 6,000 years.
And then post-Jesus is another 2,000 to put us here in 2025?
I think it's 6,000 total.
All the way up to now?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. So I think it's 4,000 BC.
Right, okay. Yeah, because there are all these genealogies in the Bible where it's like it can trace them all the way back from Adam. If Adam was a literal guy, created instantly, and you take that very literally, then he was a singular dude who gave birth to a bunch of people all throughout history that led us up to Jesus, and we have that in the Bible. It's a historical document, and we know how long each one of those people lived. Some of them lived over 100 years, several hundred years.
Several hundred, yeah.
And, you do the math, You say, okay, Earth is a few thousand years old. That's it, a literal reading of Genesis in the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there is progressive creationism, which would still have like a literal reading of the Bible, but maybe all that stuff before Adam and Eve as literal people, that could have been millions or billions of years. In which these evolutionary processes took place to make like the stars and everything that you see out in the sky, but humanity is still 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
Then we have the most wacky of all, theistic evolution, which is that God created a system, and evolution is the process by which everything that came into existence does, and he just kind of pressed play, is involved with creation, but allowed it to take the billions of years that science would say it took. So those are the three things: young earth creationism, progressive creationism and theistic evolution.
And you can make theological and scientific claims for both of these.
Yes. Yeah.
Or I'm not both. I'm sorry. Like you can take those two things for all three. Yeah.
For all three. And that's what I want to get at here was I want to give you guys the permission to, no matter which one of these three you believe, or you adhere to, you hold to, it's fine. Like, there's not a wrong or right. You're not like getting it wrong. Like, God is not mad at you or disappointed in you. You're not going to hell. As you know what I mean? Like, you can make a case for any of these, and that's okay.
Totally. I mean, we don't really have a lot of time to go into it any more than that.
Which one do you hold to?
If you all, me.
Yeah.
Does it matter? All right.
We just the people want to know.
I would say theistic. I would say really probably none of those.
Some mix of all?
Maybe not really. It would be closest to theistic evolution. So if you were here a year ago, I did Genesis 1, 2, and 3, and it's called functional creation, where you're viewing Genesis 1, the first creation account, completely distinct from the creation account in Genesis 2 and 3. The first creation account is God establishing a function that's specifically tied around the ancient Near East understanding of agriculture and all the pieces to have human life. In Genesis 2 is the historical like specifics around Adam and Eve as actual human beings who lived in this place, the Garden in Eden. That is this precursor to Israel. So pretty much the idea that the story that you learned in elementary school, you not kick that thing out the door.
Yeah.
It's not young Earth creationism. I actually have like scientific problems with macroevolution, is what it's called. So the idea that we evolved from like a primordial soup.
It's common ancestor.
Like you can literally use GPT when you go home and you can see all the holes that are there. There's a PhD guy, Stephen Meyer, that I know you've read some.
Yeah,
He's been on Joe
Meyer.
Rogan a whole bunch. That if you like that type of thing, there's tons of evidence.
Yeah, if you want to get nerdy, it's out there.
Yeah, that's where I would land in that world.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
How about you? You didn't answer?
We did. Anyway, we don't have time. No, I'm probably theistic evolution, but I was young Earth creationism for a long time. I talked about that in session 1 of this series. Go back on YouTube and find it. The next question is, can you do a spicy food challenge with some of the spiciest foods?
Not me.
Has nothing to do with anything, but yeah, my answer is yeah, dude. I will. I have before. I've eaten Carolina Reaper. I've eaten the ghost chili. I'll do it, bro.
Didn't that ruin your a week?
For a solid 48 hours,
Okay,
I was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Without getting into detail. So you won't. I will. Not today. Not right now, but at some point, yeah, for sure. The next question is, what about the dinos, Mark?
Yeah, we love dinosaurs.
We love them. Terrible lizard. T-Rex. Yeah, this kind of gets into a problem with young Earth creationism, right? Because it kind of can't. So then, like, they can't exist if the Earth is really young because Jesus rode in on a donkey, not a velociraptor.
Yeah, yeah, it is like without laughing at the bit because so the idea is that there was a period when humanity and dinosaurs
Overlapped. Shucks.
in young Earth creationism.
Okay.
Yep.
I digress.
So, and that there's a few examples that you could say, oh, that's actually a dinosaur that they're describing
in the Bible,
in the Hebrew Bible.
The behemoth or the Leviathan and the behemoth and things like this.
Yeah. It's like a brontosaurus essentially.
Yeah, it said it had like the tail like a cedar tree, and the cedars at that time were like 200 feet tall and huge.
It can't be a hippo. So what is it? Yeah.
Their tails are tiny.
I mean, that's an unknown.
So maybe
it is.
So you could make a case for either.
You can.
Sacagawea. Yeah. Okay, crazy. Plot thickens. We're going to clip through these last ones. What about aliens? Did Jesus die for them too? What if they created humans? I love this question. I love aliens.
I really do love this question so much.
Here's what I'll say. There's a statistical almost guarantee that there is life somewhere else in our universe. There are planets positioned far enough from their suns to sustain life. We just can't get to them because they're light years and light years away. But given how many galaxies and solar systems there are, it's almost a guarantee there's life somewhere. So call it an alien. Maybe it's a couple of celled organisms. Maybe it's advanced intelligent life. Who knows? Here's what I do want to say. Even if there is, it doesn't change my faith whatsoever, and here's why. I got a couple of passages of scripture here. Colossians 1:16, God created all things. By him, all things were created in heaven and on earth. All things. So if there is, well, he created it. Okay, Colossians 1, we read that earlier. Colossians 1:20, Jesus' death and resurrection are cosmic in scope, and here's what I mean. This says this, through him, being Jesus, to reconcile himself to all things, whether on earth or in heaven. And heavens at that time just meant sky, meant everything out there. So that means Jesus' work on the cross wasn't just for the people on this floating hunk of rock we call earth. It was for all of creation. It was a redemption for all of creation everywhere. And could God have, this is the mind like gymnastic I like, which is, if there is intelligent life out there, could God have sent a Jesus-esque type of savior?
I think so.
To that planet and to live for them and to die for them, and they could have their own sacred text. We call it the Bible. They could call it anything else, whatever. But and then one day, when it's all reconciled and restored and redeemed, we kind of get in with all these other ancient. We see that God was so much bigger than we thought he was. Like all of our alien brothers and sisters out here just looking like giant lizards and whatnot, just worshiping God for eternity. Go! I mean, we could say, oh, we're special if God created the universe just for us. That's a cool thought. But it almost feels like more special if there's others created also in his image. Could the image of God not look like a humanoid thing like us? Could it look like a bunch of different things we can't even imagine?
Yeah, it was heresy if you said that the solar system didn't revolve around the Earth.
Yeah.
That was heresy. They would kill you for that.
Literally.
Yep.
Like a few hundred years ago.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I think it's cool. My son, on the way here, I told him some of the questions. He was like, oh, that alien one's my favorite. And Dad, what if there was the same situation with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, except they didn't fall. And they're still in that state.
Ooh.
They don't need sin. Right? They don't have sin.
Sin's dumb. Why would we bother with that? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It doesn't.
I don't know.
It doesn't change your faith.
If there is, if there isn't at all.
If we discover something, it's I used to think this too. If we discovered some ancient or some life form, oh shoot, changes everything. It doesn't.
Totally.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
God's that big.
I will say everything that we're talking about today in your faith, you have in how my brain slices out what I believe is that I have concentric circles of importance, and the stuff that's the most important is in the center that I'm not changing my mind on.
The non-negotiables, and that is the gospel, right? So we keep that sucker in the center, and if you don't know what the gospel is, ask some more questions and do some searching on your own, and we can get into that. But the things that are on these outer concentric circles are like this. I don't. Yeah, you hold them with loose hands.
I heard with loose hands. Yeah,
right.
If I'm wrong, okay, it doesn't change ultimately my faith in any way, who I am as a human being, or how I live my life.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. And the last part of this question: what if aliens created us? There's actually no genetic or fossil or biochemical evidence.
Ancient astronaut theory is what it's called.
The ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah,
but there's no evidence to support this that we've been engineered by some extraterrestrial. But even if we were, who created them?
Yeah.
God, if God's the creator of all of it, then he created the aliens who created us, so God's still the creator. I don't care. It's I don't think it's true. We can't prove it, but even if it was. We're out of time. We had two last-second questions be submitted today. One was, how does science and faith combine? I think we've kind of answered that. And then the last one is, how did all of Adam and Eve's children not have genetic mutations in their kids since they populated the earth from one family? Talking about incest.
Dang.
I presume.
I believe so.
Yeah. Do you have a quick answer to that? 20 seconds?
Well, incest causes genetic mutations, for sure.
Yeah.
So if you are viewing it as young earth creation, you need to say that God provided a mechanism that their DNA was spared so that they could spread their family around the earth.
Without mutation.
Without mutation, yeah.
Which you could do.
You could do it. Or if there are other people beyond Adam and Eve.
Whereas Adam meaning mankind or humanity, not just a guy. It's a Hebrew
Which
word.
actually is what the word Adam means.
Right.
It just means humanity. Yeah, it doesn't actually mean.
Could refer to a whole group of people.
Yeah.
Not just one specific guy.
Yeah, and if you want more of a robust answer, just go rewatch the creation series that I did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the time. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, give them. That's it for today and for this series. We start a new series next week called Start Here on the Greatest Commandment, which is love God, love people. We hope you'll be back next Sunday. Love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.